This is a really well-timed week with the election coming up. We're all awash in polling data right now. So it's a useful way to describe one of the more important things we try to do in research. In understanding polls and what they say and what they can't say, it's got value in terms of making you a consumer of the news for the next few weeks, but also for the rest of your life. And so, what does it mean when a poll says that 55% of people support candidate A? What does that mean what does it mean if a poll says that two candidates are tied, even if there's a 2% gap between them in a poll? Polls have their flaws and limitations, but they'll be around for the rest of your life because they're a really useful way, a really useful tool for predicting what is going to happen. And where the danger comes in is in this jump from knowing what our sample shows, knowing that 55% of our sample says that there's support for candidate A, to being able to say that 55% of people that will vote support candidate A. That's a huge leap. And it's not just based on luck or a guess. There's always some art involved. But this chapter sort of wants to walk you through all of the difficulties involved in making that leap. And there's a real reason that a pollster would believe that their sample can represent the population and that their result is going to say something about the event we're going to watch, the election. And so we talked about it a few weeks ago, this idea of taking a sample and the question of whether it's representative or not. And here we can start to see the payoff of that. We aren't taking a sample just to get a collection of people to be done, right? We need that sample to be representative. And so whether it's representative or not is going to have this huge, huge impact on how good our polls are. And that was part of the crisis in 2016, that the pollsters just didn't do a good job of projecting who was going to show up and vote. And creating a sample of likely voters is a double difficulty. We can figure out a representative sample of Americans easily enough because we know who Americans are, the 330 million of us. But figuring out who's going to actually show up and vote is an entirely different challenge that pollsters have to grapple with in every election, right? And it's different at the national, for a federal election versus a local election. And that challenge sort of underlies all of the noise and all of the difficulty around pollsters. And pollsters are working really hard to sort of get better and get more refined in who they include. And so if your sample is actually representative of the population, you have a good chance of being able to project how the election will go. And that's easier said than done, of course. And so I really hope that you come away with a greater appreciation of all the numbers flying around the next week until the election occurs. And beyond that, have this better appreciation of everything that goes into this predictive method. And we'll continue to build on it in the future weeks, trying to figure out how to take data from a limited group of people and make projections about the populations, about everybody, about these larger groups.